Hey, Mama, welcome to the One Income Family community. Do you feel restricted from all of the money you have tied up in debt? Are you constantly searching for ways to pay down your debt quickly? Are you ready to be free from debt? That's great because today that is what we are going over. In today's episode, you are going to learn how to set up your budget to pay down debt quickly without feeling restricted and without accumulating more debt. So go cuddle up with a nice warm drink, get comfy with them babies, and open your heart to God as we head into today's episode. Do you find it hard to save or get out of debt? Are you constantly searching for ways to save money and live on a budget? Do you have big dreams only to be stopped by not sticking to your budget? Are you ready for financial freedom? Then you, Mama, are in the right place. Welcome to the One Income Family podcast, where you will learn what it looks like to budget on one income, how to partner with God in your finances, how to budget in a way that's easy to stick to, and how to cut costs and save money, all so that you can start building wealth. It is my mission to equip you with these tools so that you can live in abundance regardless of the amount in your account. Hey, I'm Molly, a budget coach for stay-at-home moms, and I know what it's like to struggle on one income. I've lived paycheck to paycheck, relied on being frugal, and failed many budgets until I learned how to budget without tracking. This has allowed my family to pay off debt and build wealth all on one income. So, if you are ready for financial freedom, then go grab that stroller, plug in those headphones, and let's get to it. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I went live a few weeks ago over in the One Income Family community, and I wanted to bring it over to the podcast as well, which means that this is a recording from the Facebook community. And I just wanted to give you a little heads up so that you know that it will be a little bit different than what you're used to. I also want to share with you that I am going to start going live once a month in the Facebook community, and I want to invite you to come join the community so that you can jump on these lives and get the opportunity to ask your questions live. You will also be able to see things that I may be showing if there's a piece that needs a visual explanation, right? This is a great community where you get more support, not only from me, but from other mamas who are going through the same struggles as you, or maybe already have gone through them and can give you some guidance as well. Life on one income, it's just challenging. But the great thing is that you don't have to do it alone. So make sure that if you haven't already, that you come join the free community. And if you're not on Facebook, that's fine. You can join my insiders list and still be able to watch the Facebook lives, ask questions, and join me and connect with me is what I meant to say, right there in my emails, right? We can connect, we can talk, we can go over the lives if you have any questions, and you will still be able to see them even if you're not on Facebook. So if you'd like to join the community, you can go to bit.ly/the One Income Family community. And to join the insiders list, all you have to do is go to bit.ly/the One Income Family Insider. Now, if you didn't catch those and they're a little bit confusing because it can be a lot, you can also find those links in the show notes as well. All right, so let's head over into the live. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's live. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking about paying down debt and how to do it using your budget and systems for the budget, and to do it without accumulating more, because we don't want to accumulate more debt, right? That is not the goal in the end. So the first thing that I want to share with you out of my 5 simple steps is to create consistency. Now, consistency is something that I achieve and I teach through my bills system. Now, I'm not going to go in depth on what the bills system is 100% because I have episodes on that. And if that's something you're interested in, again, put bill system in the comments and I will share that with you. But the bill system, how it gives you consistency is every single paycheck you are putting the same amount towards your bills every single time. So it gives you consistency because you're not going, okay, well, this week I have to pay this bill, and this week I have to pay this bill. And now I'm in that feast or famine cycle of, well, do I have the money for this week's like groceries and all the extra things that I need? Or am I going to be like in that famine mode where I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got $50 to my name after paying bills and I don't know how to do this, right? This bill system, it gets you out of that. It allows you to be able to see how much money you have every single time you have a consistent number, right? And then after that, you're like, okay, I have enough money for bill or for groceries, for going out to eat, for all the fun things, my goals that I want to achieve, gas, and all the other needs that we have, right? That is there. We have the money for it. And so that is why I believe that is the number one thing you want to do is you want to achieve consistency. And I'm not talking about like staying consistent with your budget. I'm talking about having consistent numbers come out of your paycheck every single time and it not deviate unless you add like a bill or you take away a bill, which isn't that big of a deal, right? So the next thing to get that consistency is the system that I have is your base budget, which again, I have episodes on that. Put base budget in the comments if that's something you'd like to learn more about. But the base budget is essentially how you figure out how to live beneath your means, right? It's how you know if you are like above the bills that you have, like if you can actually live on what you have, which that didn't come out very well. Let me rephrase that. The base budget is essentially figuring out how much you can live on so that you have margin in your budget and you are able to achieve the goals that you're looking for. Okay, that was much better. So to get the base budget, you just have to figure out how much money you are getting. Like if you get overtime all the time, you need to figure out your base amount. If you get a consistent amount every single time, you need to do like a percentage and figure out how much am I wanting to live on and how much am I wanting to use for achieving my goals, for savings, for paying down debt, because that is the big thing we're looking for here, right? Saving money in your budget to put towards debt. So another thing that the bill system and the base budget give you is they allow you to know how much money you have remaining. That is a big deal because when you are living paycheck to paycheck and you know that you have like $200 maybe left over after bills after one paycheck and maybe 50 after another and maybe 300 after another if you get paid weekly, right? And it just keeps bouncing back and forth, you don't know where every single penny is going. It's hard to track that. It's hard to know how much money you actually have. So with these two systems, you have consistency in your paycheck. Every single paycheck, the same amount is going towards your bills. The same amount is going towards your gas, towards your fun expenses, your personal spending, all the other necessities that you need. The same amount is going every single time. And that is the key to the system because it brings relief. You will know how much money is going into each account. You know how much money is going towards everything that you have to take care of, and you know that everything is going to be taken care of. Then you have whatever's remaining after your needs, after your base budget is figured out, right? With that lowest amount you get paid. And then you are able to figure out how much money you can then decide, which is the step number 3. I'm kind of just throwing things out there. Sorry, I'm forgetting to say the steps. But step number 3 is essentially deciding how much money you're going to put towards your debt. So do you want to put $200 extra a month? Do you want to do 300? Can you only do 50? Like what is your budget going to allow for to put towards that debt? That is how you are going to be able to pay down that debt because you know how much money you have. You have a consistent paycheck where it is divvied up every single paycheck consistently, the same amount every single time to all of your categories, to all of your accounts, and it's easy to track and follow. Then you're able to decide without guessing. You know how much money you have. You don't have to guess. Oh, maybe I'll have $200. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll have 50. Maybe I'll have more. It's not a guessing game. You will know and you will be able to make a solid financial decision on how much you want to put towards your debt, right? Okay, so then after that, the next step is to decide or is to pay your debt on payday. So that amount that you've decided, as soon as you get your paycheck, you pay that amount. So maybe you decided a monthly amount, then you need to divide it by paycheck, right? So that you know how much per paycheck is going. You sit down and you pay that on payday so that you're not waiting till the end of the month or waiting till the end of the week. Because I promise you, I've been there, I've tried it. It's not going to be there by the end of the month. You will have spent it on something else that became a priority or a life event that all of a sudden came out of nowhere is going to take that money. So if you want to pay down your debt, you want to do it quickly, you need to pay it down on the day you get your bills now or your money. This can be a little stressful. You can be like, oh my gosh, but what if I need that money? What if something comes up and all of a sudden I'm like out of money and I don't know what to do, right? Well, then you need to set up systems for that, which is my fifth and final step, which is to implement what I call no spend challenges. And that is where you do for 1 month no extra spending, just pay your bills so that everything left over can be put towards something. The first something that I suggest is an emergency fund because that is how you're going to be able to pay down debt without having to worry about if those life events come up. You're going to have money to be able to accommodate for whatever life throws your way. You're going to have the money you need to take a deep breath, look around, see how you can handle it, and not have to stress when you sit down to pay your debt on payday if you're going to need it later on, right? You know you have the money should something happen. Now, maybe you want to do the same thing for like a little miscellaneous fund so that if something like going out to eat or if something like going out with friends pops up and you don't have the money for that, but you would still like to go, you have that there and you're not using your emergency fund because that's not considered an emergency fund, right? So maybe you get those two little slush funds set up so that you have that and you're not stressing over it and worried that if you pay that debt down, you're not going to have money to do things you want to do, right? Which you shouldn't be an issue because you should have everything set up in your base budget, including your personal spending to be able to do those fun things, your family spending, again, to be able to do those fun things and still save and still do all the other goals. This isn't like a one and only kind of thing. Now, you can, if you want to, you can like 100% dive deep into it, go, I am all in. We're going to get this paid off. Now make sure that both you and your husband are on the same page. Otherwise, it's not going to mesh very well. But that is something that you can do if that's what you choose to do, which again kind of goes on with my no spend challenges. The first one that I suggest you doing again is that emergency fund and that little miscellaneous fund. The second one is to hit your debt hard with, right? Now, if you want to, again, go all in, you can do a no spend challenge for the entire year if you're that dedicated. But I do want to let you know that there can be like stress related to that. You can feel restriction. You can start feeling resentment. And those are not feelings that you want to have in this financial journey. Otherwise, you're going to backtrack instead of keep moving forward, right? You're going to then say, well, I want to be able to do this. And now I'm going to use my credit card because I want to be able to do this, but I've used all my money on my debt, right? And that's not where I want you to be. I want you to do it gently, to do a no spend challenge once a month, maybe every quarter, maybe you do it every other month. Set a goal of what you want it to be. How in depth do you want to do this, right? So it is your decision. It's how you want to do it, how you feel comfortable, how you and your husband, because you want to make sure that you are both on the same page or this is not going to work. Sometimes even if he doesn't want to do the no spend challenge, maybe you challenge yourself in areas that you are in control of, like groceries or your own spending. family spending, right? Those are usually the things that mom takes care of. Dad takes care of like his own personal spending and gas and the car and the lawn maintenance, which is something I still do too. But, those are the typical things of how you separate that out. And so maybe you only do it in your areas and not his areas. No, it won't grow as quickly, but it still is a little bit of of accomplishment, right? A little success here and there in the long run is going to get you there so much faster than a whole bunch of success that then you backtrack because you feel restricted or because your husband isn't on the same page and again he feels restricted and he starts feeling resentment towards you, and those are not areas that you want to be in. So that is not where we want our financial journey to go, right? So definitely make sure that you sit down and when you do the bill system, when you do the base budget, when you do the deciding of how much money you're going to do. Now, you may not need him there for payday, but let him know that you're going to do it on payday. Like when that money comes in, it's going to be dispersed, and what's there is there kind of thing. It definitely sets boundaries. It lets you be able to take it one step at a time, right? Instead of jumping into it full force, because that again, it's like quitting something cold turkey. And when you quit cold turkey, you generally go back to it. So I don't want that for you. I want you to slowly start changing your habits, slowly start making positive shifts so that they stick and they stay. And I do not I want to keep stressing. I don't want you to not remember this because it can be so easy when you're sitting down and doing something. I know I do it all the time, but it can be so easy to leave your husband out of this or your wife if you're a guy listening to this. But it can be so easy to leave your spouse out of the whole situation that you're creating. And then when you start doing it, they're not on board. They're like, no, I don't agree with that. I don't want to do that. I want to be involved in this. Now, I involve my husband, and he's like, okay, I really don't want to be involved in this, but I still make him look over the work that I've done so that we're on the same page, so that if there's a shift that he wants to make, we can do it together. We can make the decision together instead of him just feeling like he's being controlled, because that is an issue. That can be something that comes up. And I don't want that to happen for you, right? So definitely make sure that you sit down and you talk with your husband, even if you come up with a plan first and then take it to him because he doesn't want to do like the nitty-gritty work of it. He just wants to see the outcome. He wants to see what's going to happen when you implement this. He wants to see how it's going to make him feel in the moment, because the overarching goal can sometimes be so enticing and so exciting that you forget about how you're going to feel in the moment. And that is why I am like stressing how you can start feeling restriction and resentment and just start feeling stuck and unable to do things. And it just brings up so many negative feelings. And when you get in that feeling, in that mode, then you just start spending willy-nilly and the budget goes out the window, the goal goes out the window. You just forget everything, right? So I want to make sure that you are sitting down, you're looking at your budget, you're figuring out the bill system, which again, if you want more information on bill system, put bill system in the comments. You're then figuring out your base budget. That is where the margin comes in. That is how you're able to see how much money you have that you can put towards all these extra things, right? So if you want more on base budget, again, put base budget in the comments. So then you're able to decide how much money you can put towards your bills because you've set up a budget that allows you to see everything clearly. It's consistent, it's concise, it's exactly what it is. It tells you the truth. There's no questions. It's simple to read, and you know that what you have is what you have, and you're able to make good, solid financial decisions without questions, without worrying if it's not going to work, right? And then you can decide how much money that you want to put towards your debt. And then on payday, you can put that money towards your debt without worrying if it's going to affect anything, right? Because then you also can implement those challenges and put in your emergency system, your emergency fund, and maybe a little miscellaneous fund, right? So that you can have those fun things should something come up that you weren't able to plan for at the beginning of that paycheck, right? And then you can just easily do this stuff. You can decide what you're going to do for no spend challenges. Maybe you don't need to do a no spend challenge, but that's how you do it quickly. If you want to pay it off faster, you do a no spend challenge, maybe every other month, every quarter, once a year, whatever you're comfortable with. It's your choice. It's your decision. Okay. So with that being said, I want to end with just offering you again a budget audit, a free budget audit, so that if this is something that you want to set up, if you want more information about how to implement the bill system, the base budget, how to decide how much money you need to put towards debt or you feel comfortable putting towards debt, how much you should put in emergency funds and all of that stuff, definitely put budget audit in the comments and let's connect. Let's figure out what it is that you're struggling with so that you can just really run with it, right? Sorry about that. But I want you to succeed. I want you to have peace and joy in your finances and not stress and be worried about it or feel resentment and restriction because those are things that come so easily when it comes to finances. So again, if that's something that you would love more information on, put budget audit in the comments and I will reach out to you after this live is over with. So with that being said, I hope and I pray that you've had some ideas pop into your head of what you can do to move forward so that you can pay down debt quicker, right? And do it without accumulating more debt because that is the ultimate goal. You can pay down debt, but it's so easy to get back into that debt cycle. So with that being said, I will see you right back here. I believe I'm going to start doing these monthly, so I will see you right back here next month on another live where we will learn more about how to budget on one income. Before you go, I hope this episode has ignited a fire inside of you, and I pray that it creates long-lasting impact. Did you know that you too can impact other one-income families? All you have to do is leave a written review and you help get the podcast in the hands of other mamas in need. You can also text this episode to that friend who is also knee-deep in the same kind of chaos as you and inspire them to make a change. Also, your review lets me know that you're enjoying the show, and that lights me up. I get so excited to hear from you. Another great way that we can connect, though, is through the One Income Family community over on Facebook. So after you're done leaving that 5-star review, head on over to the community where you will find other mamas working their way out of the chaos. You can ask your questions and connect with others who truly understand what you are going through. I cannot wait to connect with you in the community. Until then, I will see you right here next week on another episode of the One Income Family podcast.